Hi Leo, welcome back to the Astrology 33 channel, and this is your October 2020 tarot reading. Thanks to those of you who liked, viewed, shared, subscribed, and donated to the channel. I appreciate all of that. As far as personal readings go, I'm still taking a bit of a break from those. Not sure when I'm going to pick them up again yet, but if I make a decision to start them up again soon, I'll make an update in the community section of the channel. As far as what we have in front of us, it's a Celtic cross spread as always, and I also pulled some Oracle cards and a Mudra card for you guys, but we'll get started with the main spread first. In the main situation position, we have the Eight of Wands, which is Sagittarius energy, and we have the Seven of Cups, which is Scorpio energy. So this can just be saying that maybe you have a lot of activity going on around you, possibly even in your home environment. This could just be saying that maybe you have a lot of creative ideas, and maybe you're just trying to figure out which of those directions you want to go in. So there could be a little bit of confusion around that. And for others, you can just be saying that maybe there's a lot of just activity going on around you and you're trying to get some peace and quiet, but it could be difficult given the environment around you. And for some of you as well, this can also point to dating options possibly. Maybe you put yourself back out there recently and now you're trying to decide out of your options which ones are the best ones to go with. Just a few ways I could see those energies playing out. In the challenger obstacle position, we have the Two of Swords. This is Libra energy here, and to me this does point to you guys probably just wanting some peace and quiet again, so I do feel that vibe definitely. So it could just be saying that your environment around you is a bit too busy and distracting right now, and you're just trying to really detach from all that, get a little peace and quiet, especially because for you guys, Libra is your house of communication. And, for this energy to come up there, it could just be saying that you're actually, preferring not to have a lot of noise around you right now. Could be a big decision that you're trying to make, and that could be the reason why. And for some of you, it could just be saying that maybe you're having a little confusion around your dating life. For those of you, if that was your scenario, because you're trying to keep all emotion out of it. If you're trying to act strictly out of your logic, then that could obviously hinder things, especially in the early stages of a new connection. So that could be what that's pointing to there. In the foundation position, we have the Ace of Swords. So the good news is I do feel like this is saying that no matter what, if you do take a little bit of quiet time, you will actually have that sudden insight as to which direction you want to move in. For some of you, though, this can point to a need for you to speak the truth. So, if it is one of those things where you feel like you need some space, you might feel a little overwhelmed, you might actually need to communicate that to people as opposed to just, trying to find a way around it without rocking the boat, if you will. So it could just be as simple as that. You might need to tell someone, whether it's a specific person or a group of people, like, look, I just need a little bit of time alone. I need my space, right? And take the time you need there. In the past position, we have the Six of Pentacles, and this is actually Taurus energy here. So for some of you, this could be related to your career life forever. Could just be saying that, your career might have been very balanced. You might have been putting a lot of focus and energy into your career as well. And maybe that's even why you're having a little bit of difficulty with your dating life, because, maybe you've shifted your focus off of your career a little bit, and now you're trying to find that balance. Like, okay, let me get back into the dating scene, but at the same time, all right, I've been putting so much energy into my career. How do I strike that balance now between the two? In the present position, we have the Nine of Pentacles, which is Virgo energy, and the Nine of Cups, which is Pisces energy. So for some of you, this can be considering investments as well. So maybe that's why you're trying to really think things through. You might have a little bit of financial success due to the focus you had in your career. Now you're trying to figure out, okay, well, how do I want to invest that money, right? So that could be what's on your mind and why you're trying to detach. The reason I say it could be around investments is because this is Pisces energy, which for you guys is your 8th house. So sometimes that could point to investments, other people's money. For others of you, going back to that dating scenario that I was mentioning, part of the difficulty for you too could be that you're finding that you really are, at least for the time being, you're more content being single. The reason I say that is because if we look at the Nine of Pentacles energy, that's often referred to as a very single energy there. And then with that Nine of Cups, we see a lot of contentment. So that could be part of the issue too, right? You do decide to put yourself back out on the dating scene only for you to realize, you know what, like actually I'm kind of happy being single. Or again, like I said, just trying to find that balance, shifting out of being completely single and independent and trying to incorporate yourself into a relationship now. You know, you could just be struggling a little bit with that dynamic. In the near future position, we have the Hierophant and the Eight of Swords. So again, to me, this looks like similar dynamic that we were just talking about, maybe some kind of a fear around commitment, because to me the Hierophant definitely points to a commitment type of dynamic. And then with the Eight of Swords, we see that reluctance and, you know, the reluctance to actually move into that connection. So, and you might even feel torn internally in a way too, where on the one hand you do want these things, but then you're like, you know, how do I even go about it? Because for some of you might have been single for quite a while. You know, you might have just been so career focused that you're like, where do I even begin, right? So that could be how it's playing out for some of you as well. And for a career, like I said, maybe you guys have multiple options at play. And you're just trying to decide what's the best route to go there too, because again, this being Taurus energy, that is your house of career and social status. I do have to say at the very end of the month, there's actually going to be a full moon in Taurus as well, and it's going to be conjunct Uranus. So that's going to be a pretty intense full moon. So you might, at the very least, if you feel like you can't make up your mind now, events around that full moon might actually help shift gears for you guys. So something to keep in mind there. All right, in the position of your influence on the situation, we have the Ace of Pentacles. So yeah, for some of you, this can be around a new start with careers. So maybe some of you have decided to shift careers, and that's the difficulty, right? Maybe a little bit of nerves around that, like, okay, some nervousness there, like, oh, all right, I'm starting a new job, a new career path, whatever, right? So there could be a little bit of nervous energy there, feeling like you're completely starting over, right? So even if you're still in the same field, maybe you were just at a job for so many years now, you're like, okay, I might be doing the same job, but now I have a whole new work environment, new coworkers, right? So you could just feel like it's a total new start for you. For others of you, what we were saying there too around commitment, the way I'm seeing this could even be for some of you, you might even be considering proposing to some people. Now, you know, I think that's for a very small percentage of you, but that's something I pick up on there too. But at the very least, this could be you considering presenting the option to someone to enter into something more serious. And again, I feel like you're just a little bit rusty in that regard because, like I said, you might have just been so focused on career and being your single independent self that you're like, okay, how do I even go about this, you know? In the environment position, we have the Nine of Wands, which is Sagittarius energy again, and the Seven of Swords. So if this is your energy, this could be getting to the root of the problem, I suppose. You know, maybe there's just that real fear on your part that it could end with you being deceived. Because here we see that fifth house energy, right, which should be that light, playful energy, that Leo energy. I mean, you guys rule the fifth house naturally, so you know that energy well. But then with that Seven of Swords energy representing your opposite sign, which is relationships and partnerships, this is a bit of a deceptive energy, even if it's self-sabotage, you know? So could be a fear you have, like, okay, well, especially if we even look at the way he's looking in the spread, he's looking right toward the Hierophant card, and he doesn't look like he's too trusting of it, so could definitely be commitment fears for some of you, where you're, like, fearful that, you know, you might have the person deceive you. Maybe it's something you've already gone through in the past and you haven't fully healed from that yet. So, you know, you just still have that wound that's a little bit fresh in that regard. For the majority of you, I really pick up that this is you as opposed to someone that's in your environment, quite frankly. But, I mean, for someone, you know, for some of you, this can represent someone in your environment as well. And I feel like they might, this could go one of two ways, where they could be in that boat, like I was saying, where they might have been in a situation where they were deceived and now they're still, you know, reluctant to open up. But for others of you, this can be saying that they might actually self-sabotage. I don't really get the vibe with this particular combination that it would be deliberate on their part. Well, I shouldn't say deliberate. It wouldn't be like malicious on their part, but due to that, them really not being ready deep down, there is that tendency that they might self-sabotage in some way. So something to keep in mind there. And if this is around career for some of you too, since I was picking up on that, this could just be saying with salary negotiations, if they give you a bit of a low offer, don't be afraid to try to get them to up that offer, because it looks like that's what that makes me think of there, where they might offer you a lower amount than they really can. If we look at those two swords there, it'd be like that would be their initial offer, but really they have all those other swords to offer. So, if you feel like you get a really low offer around a job, looks like it could be negotiable. So something to think about there. All right. In the hopes or fears position, we have the Queen of Cups. So, meaning, like, in theory, I was going to say this is a hope card, but again, this can be pointing to a fear of yours, because this is the only cup in the entire suit of cups that actually has that closed off cup. So, again, that could be an indicator that you're a bit fearful about opening up emotionally. And it's like you're coming to the edge there, because if we look, she's right there by the edge of the water, but not quite ready to jump in yet, basically. So, could definitely be some fear around commitment for you guys. And I do have to mention that at the bottom of the deck too, we have the Two of Cups, which is Cancer energy, represents usually a fresh start of a relationship. And interestingly enough, beneath that, we see the Five of Cups. So yeah, it could just be saying all these cards seem to show that beneath the surface there's something still there that maybe you haven't let go of yet. Maybe that energy moving through Scorpio toward the very end of the month and into November might help shift that for you, because that's, your fourth house. So that could help you release some things you might have been holding on to for a long time. But just a thought. And in the outcome position, we have Judgment and the Tower. So interesting energies here. To me, this is a Scorpio energy. It represents the rebirth side of the situation. So for some of you, this can represent someone coming back around from the past for you, and that completely throwing you for a loop. I have the feeling that this could be someone from way back, if that's the case, not someone that you just met a couple of months ago and got disconnected, right? I feel like this is something probably from further back than that. And for others of you, this could just be saying that, if you do hesitate for too long to make a decision, the decision might be made for you. That's one way that these energies could be playing out too, which is to say, for example, let's say you have someone in mind, you're really just going back and forth. Do I do it? Do I not do it? And then, for example, you might find out that they start dating someone else, So that's just a generic example of how it could play out. So I could be saying, as far as a karmic thing for you guys to actually move on it. So just keep that in mind. I definitely wouldn't rush into anything, don't get me wrong, because we are going to have that Mercury retrograde. But at the very least, I would say with that Ace of Pentacles we see there, the Ace of Swords at the foundation, it could just be saying at least keep the lines of communication open, So, okay, you're not sure, but at least keep that connection alive in the meantime, right? As opposed to if you completely shut them out, then they might assume, okay, well, there's no interest there, and they might move on. Whereas at least if, okay, you're not quite ready to fully open up, at least keep the lines of communication open so you could get a little bit more, reassurance through that, right? Whether it's a yes, I could totally trust this person, or no, I definitely can't, right? So that could be what the guidance is there. All right, moving on to your oracle cards. First, we have Truth to Be Told. There's the artwork, and the number is 14. So, that immediately makes me think of that Ace of Swords energy. Definitely a good match there, but we'll see what it says. Okay, it says honesty, accepting things at face value, coming out of denial, the willingness to be transparent, clarity of communication. The Oracle's message. There is the truth, which is the essence of a thing, and then there is a truth, subjective according to the philosophy of the adherent or believer. This is not a time for debate about which truth is truer. This is a time when you are called to proclaim your truth out loud and be willing to be transparent, honest, and open in your communication with others and with yourself. Nothing less than surrender to what is, peeling off the layers of denial that kept you tied to an illusion, will set you free. Be authentic and gloriously flawed, and Spirit will answer with miracles. So definitely a pretty positive message there, and like I said, I did pick up on some of that energy, so that definitely seems to be aligning with the same thing there, which is to say, if you feel like whatever it is, you need space, you're not sure if you could trust someone or not, right? Could just be saying that the key is to just communicate what you're going through. The relationship message says people tell you who they are very quickly if you're willing to listen to what they say and pay attention to how they behave. This card calls you to engage in heartfelt, open conversation. It's time to see the truth about what you share with each other and tell the truth about who you are and what you need. No one can do that for you. Remember that your truth is always based in your personality and experience up to now. A higher truth will be found after you communicate honestly and see how doing so has helped you become more attuned to yourself. Don't hold back. Speak your truth and listen. So, definitely a pretty good message there. And again, like I said, I feel like we've covered that for the most part, but hopefully it did resonate with you. And then the prosperity message says, are you willing to do whatever it takes to experience the prosperous life you desire? If you want to be an artist, do you make your art a priority? If you want to be a healer, do you set time aside to learn new things to help you serve? A writer must write, and a singer must sing. Being true to your calling is essential to your moving forward. There is another oracle message here too. It's time to have a look at the real, honest truth about your thoughts, feelings, and beliefs about prosperity, about your relationship to money, to compensation, and to meaningful work. Ask yourself, what is true for me? And you will find the key to abundance. So definitely an interesting message there too, especially for those of you who are, like I said, maybe somebody looking at multiple career options. So hopefully that resonated with you if you're in that scenario. And then next, we actually had two cards that came up from the second deck. The first one we have is Wombat Spirit. It says, be at home. There's the artwork, and the number is 68. All right, it says burrowing deep into the ground, remaining safe, sound, and well fed with family is a special trait of the wombat. Home sweet home is always available if you recognize that well being is the truth of life. Wombat Spirit reminds you that to be truly at home in the world, you need to find comfort within your own skin. You do this by accepting all your experiences without judgment through a deep honesty and love of life. When you feel the freedom to be yourself, you can begin to truly feel at home in your life with your family and tribe. Right now, you're in a beautiful place where you can hang up the coat of your identity and settle into a true sense of home and well-being, understanding that all is well. Everything you do from this place rings true in harmony with spirit. So definitely an interesting message there, and I will say, especially when we get toward the end of the month, we'll have that energy moving into Scorpio, which for you guys is your fourth house, so that might be the timing where you might want to withdraw too. And then, like I was saying, I feel like for some of you wanted a little bit of peace and quiet, so could be pointing to that as well. All right, and then the next card we have is Porcupine Spirit, and the keyword for it is time for beginner mind. There's the artwork, and the number is 48. So that made me think of what I was saying there for some of you where you might be starting a new job too. So hopefully that'll resonate with you guys if that's your situation, but we'll see what the card says. It says, when Porcupine Spirit calls your name, you are being asked to adopt the beginner's mind and to approach situations with innocence and curiosity. The old, confining stories no longer have a hold on you. Life is full of surprises hiding in plain sight. Looking at the world afresh with new eyes can help you find what you have been seeking whether it is a relationship, an opportunity, or evidence that you have all you need right now to co-create what you desire. Who knew? Porcupine Spirit asks you to be playful and have a childlike curiosity. There is so much waiting for you that you have yet to discover. So definitely an interesting message there as well. I do feel like that does resonate with the overall vibe of the reading, so hopefully that resonated with you too. And then finally we have a mudra. And the mudra you guys got for this month is the Anjali mudra. There it is there. The key word for it is reverence. And let's see if we can get this to focus. There we go. All right, so if you want, you could pause it or take a screenshot to see what it has to say, but under benefits, it says calming and centering, facilitates connection to the heart and central channel, evokes feelings of humility, reverence, and devotion. So if you think that's something that will be beneficial, I will put the name of the mudra in the description of the video for you guys. As always, we'll wrap up there, and I'll see you all next month. All right, bye.